Welcome back to That's Clever. I'm Angela Martinez. This crafter from Nebraska keeps herself in stitches, and she really pours her heart into embroidering a brooch using beads and clay.
Hi, my name is Darcy Horn and I live in Omaha, Nebraska, and I love beads. Beads, 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 and even more beads. And I love beads so much that today I'm going to make this piece of beaded art to wear. And it's really cold out here and there's beading to be done, so let's get inside. For most people this would just be a living room, but for me it's my bead studio where I do all of my beadwork. I have a collection of beads, it's a little over 100,000, and I make primarily art to wear. The piece I'm going to be doing today is covered in beads, but the first part of it is made with polymer clay. First part is to cut equal parts of a color clay, and then I'm going to mix it with a pearlized clay in equal parts. Pearlized clay is a white clay that has little specks of the pearl in it. And using the whitest setting on my pasta machine that's dedicated just to polymer clay, I start rolling that out, kind of getting the pieces warm. I use the pasta machine to get a really nice uniform mix of my clay, and it doesn't tire out my hands so fast. And I've already done the same with a piece of translucent. This is copper foil, and it's gonna give me a lot of shine and shimmer. I'm going to cut out a piece of translucent, press that over the top. And this is silver leaf, and I'm gonna lay that down on top of the translucent sheet. I'm layering, going back and forth between color, a copper, translucent, silver, and I'll continue to do that, build up a slab. Now I've got my 16 layers. I'm going to cut this part in half, layer that together, and then I'll have 32 layers. 16 and 16, 32. I've always been very good at math. Now I'm going to flatten this out. I just use an old jelly jar. When I'm doing this, the foil inside is crackling and making really cool patterns, hopefully. This is part of the mokomegane technique. Mokomegane is an old Japanese metalworking technique, and I have put my own spin on it. I'm going to form the cabochon. I cut just a little bit off the side. Now I'm going to roll that. I'm going to start taking very thin layers off of my slab. I'm starting to see like a grain-like texture forming from the layers. When it bakes, then I'll be able to see even more of the layers underneath. And it gives it a really cool, very realistic looking, like a stone. So then I start building my layers up on that base bead that I made. For the next step, I'm going to flatten it into a cab, but before I do that, I need to put on my gloves. So now this is ready to be baked. I'll put it in a dedicated oven for about half an hour at 275. Once it's baked, the translucent that you see right through there that looks cloudy now will clear up, and we'll be able to see more of the layers of the silver and the copper leaf. All right, it's out of the oven. It's cleared up a little bit, the translucent, so we can see down into our layers. There are a few imperfections left, so I need to do a little wet sanding. I've finished sanding, and now it's time to put a quick glaze on it. I know what you're thinking. Is it time to get to the beading yet? No. Whoa, tiger. Just relax. First, we got to make our backing to do the beading on, cut our backing material for the finished piece, and then glue the cabochon on. I've got a template. This is leather that I'm going to use for the finished backing. The cabochon is dried, and so we can go ahead and glue it down into position onto our interfacing. What I'm going to do for the setting is called a even count peyote stitch around the outside. Peyote stitch is a pretty old technique that some people say is Native American in origin. Now we've finished the peyote stitch with the size 11 seed beads to make the setting. And now I'm going to use size 15s, just a tiny bit smaller. All right, are you people keeping up with me? We're moving pretty fast. Now I'm going to do a little bit of fringe and add some more of my turquoise pieces into the design. All the stitching's done now, at least on the front. Now I'm going to take the leather backing, cut 3 holes for the pin back, slip that in, and whip stitch that together with beads, of course. And my bead embroidered heart is now done. This can be worn as a pin, or you can string some beads and make it into a necklace.
Up next, we're drawn back into Katie's Wisconsin glass studio. She's revving up some of her flower power to create a fused glass magnet in bloom.